Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Empowerment Exchange. This week, we are going to be talking about what do you have to do to unlock your genius? And some of you may have already heard about finding your genius zone or being in the flow. All that means is unlocking your core strengths and literally running with them, identifying them, leaning on them, using them to create a business for yourself and move forward and just embrace something that is completely aligned with who you are, what your strengths are, what your values are, and then using your unique skills and abilities to change the world. So this is an entrepreneur group. There are people that are in this group that are budding entrepreneurs, some that are really trying to figure out what's going on with their business. Maybe they have been in business for a year or two. So I want to just go through this with you, talk about what it means to unlock your genius, because you may be struggling. You may be sitting there going, you know what? I thought this was going to work. I thought I had a great idea. I thought this was exactly what I was called to do. And I want to just share this with you so that you can really evaluate that and reflect and see if you are standing smack dab in what you're supposed to do, or if there are some questions that you need to ask, or some lists that you need to write, and some reflections that you need to have in your own life to figure it out. Because I can tell you, I started in a path in my life out of pretty much necessity. I spent the first 2 decades of my life in the financial services industry because in my life 20 plus years ago, I needed someone to help me make sense coming out of a divorce, what I needed to do financially, what I needed to do to pick up the pieces, not only of my financial life, but my life in general. And because I couldn't find who I needed, I became that for other women. So now fast forward to where I am in my life now, I am no doubt living in my genius zone. What I do every day with coaching women, helping them transform their lives, helping them stand in their power and be financially fearless is exactly my genius zone. Took me a little minute to get there, but you have these pivots and pauses in your life for reasons, right? And it's understanding what you bring to the table that best serves other people will really help you fine tune what it is that you're doing or what you're called to do. Because I don't feel like what I do is a job. I feel like it's a calling. And I'm sure that you'll see as we go through this, that once you really figure out how to unlock your genius and how to be in that flow where you lose track of time, you lose track of everything else because you are doing exactly what you're called to do. Once you realize that you're standing in that power, it's going to change everything for you. So the first thing that I want to do is let you know at the very end of this, for those of you who are listening or watching, I am going to make an ebook available for you that literally is talking about how to unlock your genius. And it's going to give you all the things that you need to do. But we're going to go through that today together. Now, what is your genius? Your strengths, your own personal strengths, are what make you unique. When you know what those strengths are, you can leverage them both in your career and in your personal life. And when you know your strengths, it opens up the door for a lot of things. You can focus on the things that have the most impact on your life. You can contribute more value to those around you, make better decisions, achieve the best possible results day in and day out, reduce the amount of stress and anxiety that you feel, delegate appropriate tasks to other people, get help in areas where you feel weak, and succeed massively in your career. All of this happens when you know your strengths. When you don't use your strengths, your performance suffers, your motivation falters, and your career and personal life can be hurt. How do you identify what your strengths are? I want to just walk through a little bit of information with you. I'm not going to give it all away, right? Because I want you to get the ebook, but I want to walk through some things that can teach you how to discover and how to identify your key strengths so that you can give your best self to the world each and every day. First thing you need to do is really identify what your passions are. Your passions are often a good indicator of your strengths. Identifying your passions is the first step in identifying your strengths. Think of the passions like an oasis in the desert. Ask yourself these questions. What would I do for free simply because I love it? Now, I'm not saying that you're going to do it for free, but what would you do for free simply because you love it? I can tell you, I would sit and talk with women and brainstorm and role play and do that day in and day out for free because I really love helping women find transformation in their life. So I would do that for free, but I don't do it for free because I obviously do it as my career is a life coach. But that's definitely something that I know I would do. So I know that that's a strength of mine. What gets you the most excited? What do you care about the most? What activities are totally immersive for you? What makes you say, I am all in, no matter what it is? Maybe I have clients that are artists. I have clients who are obviously business owners that are doing things surrounding passions that they have with pets. So, what activities do you totally get lost in? If you could do anything at all, what would it be? And what do you think about most of the time? Now, I can tell you, I live in the mountains and I love the mountains. And I try to figure out as much as possible how I can stay in the mountains, but I also like to travel. So I have created a career in which I can coach people across the world. I have clients all over the world in all different time zones. And it gives me flexibility to not only be there to earn a living, but to also travel. That's a passion that I have. So when you ask yourself these questions, what would you do for free? What gets you the most excited? What do you care about the most? If you could do anything at all, what would it be? And what do you spend the most time thinking about? And what, when you do you get completely lost in? Determining these things you're most passionate about are going to help you discover your deepest, most profound strengths. The next step, ask other people for input. Whew, this is not something that's easy to do, right? If you are thinking about something or you are already doing something as an entrepreneur and you didn't do your market research and you're really struggling, maybe this is the time to go back and say, hey, listen, if you had to say pick top 3 things that I'm really good at, what would they be? And I can tell you, I did that. I did that in my client family. I did that with my friends and family. And they all came back to, you're a really good listener. You're very positive and uplifting. And you are really, really good at pouring yourself into the lives of other people. So I knew, okay, I'm going down this right path, right? Because there was things that I could bring to the table that not only made me unique, but they were actually my true calling to help other people. Things that I knew that I was bringing a value for. Sometimes it's hard to hear uh, input from other people, but I would just caution you to find people that you know are supportive of you, but can be honest with you as well. So ask them for input. Others can see things in us and about us that we simply do not see. So ask questions like, what am I the best at? Or what unique talents and skills do you think that I have? What do you appreciate about me the most? When do I do my best work? What circumstances bring out the best in me? And this is one I think that is the most important to ask other people. What sets me apart from others? I can tell you there are a ton of people in finance in the world. There are a ton of life coaches. What sets me apart is that not only do I have the education to support all that I have learned in both finance and in coaching, I have my own personal life story. My experiences really are, you combine those with my education. And I think actually my experiences really make me unique and set me apart from what maybe some other coaches are doing. And I think when you can realize that one thing that sets you apart, maybe for someone like for me personally, I help people now that are living with chronic illnesses. Would I've ever done that before? No, because you know why? I didn't have that experience with myself till almost 3 years ago when I was paralyzed from an autoimmune disease. So now I have a different appreciation, a different level of understanding, and I have that experience. So now when I'm working with somebody, I know exactly how they're feeling. Okay, so that makes something a little unique for me in the life coaching space, more so than somebody that maybe never had that experience. I've also been through divorce. I've been through abuse. I've been a single mom. I'm a business owner. I went from having nothing to being very successful. So there are things that I can relate. So I think when you look at and you ask your friends, what really sets me apart? You may be surprised at what they say, but remember too, they're looking at you through their lens. So it's good to get that feedback, because there may be something you didn't even realize how good you were at doing, but your friends and the people that are surrounding you and are positive and are going to be there to uplift you, they're going to be honest and listen to what they have to say and tell them, you know what, be honest with me. Your goal is really to get a clear, full picture of yourself. Hearing the input of others is going to help you start to get a sense of your true strengths. Next step, evaluate the requests you regularly receive. What is it that people are always asking you for help in these areas? So I can tell you, when I started out in coaching, it actually came out of a need that I saw in my client base. So my clients, my financial clients, they were coming to me. We would have annual reviews. If things changed in their financial life, we would make adjustments. But when I really started to step foot into coaching, it was when COVID hit. And my clients were not really reaching out about their finances because everything was in place. It was riding out the storm. They were dealing with life. They needed to talk about, how scared they were about the world shutting down, how scared they were about getting sick. They had family members that were getting sick. I had clients who had lost spouses who passed away as COVID first came about. So it was a very unique thing for me to be feeling like I spent day in and day out just being there for people, just being there, standing in a gap, letting them know, like, hey, I get it, giving them a place to vent and a place to breathe and a place to question what was going on. And that happened over and over and over again. So I started seeing people like, hey, I just wanted to bounce this off of you. Hey, I really need to talk to you about this. And then as COVID kind of played itself out, then I started getting a lot of requests from people who were facing divorce. Now, I've helped people divorcing for my entire career in the financial world, and they were coming to me now in the coaching capacity. Then I went and got my certification as a divorce coach. So then I was there to help them get through and navigate, not only from a financial perspective, but also from just going through life once again. And then after that, I started getting approached by people who were business owners. Hence the reason I started my Facebook group about entrepreneurs, because I have been a business owner. I've been a business owner more than half of my life, but I started as a single mom with no money and moved it into a 7-figure advisory firm and consulting firm. So I know what it's like to be here, and I also know what it's like to get here. So it's been an evolution, right? But it then comes out to me and shows that, this is my strength. My strength is helping people figure it out. My strength is helping people navigate through things in life. And when you see all of these requests that are coming in that are pretty similar, people are coming to you to fix them or to help with them, that may be an indicator of some of your strengths. What sort of advice do people ask you for again and again and again? Step 4, determine which qualities you most admire in yourself. For example, let's say that you don't give up on things even when they get tough, or maybe you're very consistent when it comes to going to the gym. You're very disciplined. Ask yourself these questions. What admirable qualities do I possess? And if I had to list my top 3 characteristics, what would they be? What am I most proud of myself in? What key qualities define who I am? And if I had to describe myself in a sentence, what would it be? And I said this in my story, that I think if I had to say something about myself, or I had to put myself in one sentence, it would be, I am really good at stopping, pausing, listening, validating, and pouring myself into the lives of other people, which means I feel like I'm a great coach. I give people an opportunity to sit in their thoughts, to help them understand them, to help them move from where they are to where they want to be. As you answer these questions, you should begin to see certain qualities emerge which you really appreciate. Now, step 5, we're going to find our flow state. A flow state occurs when you are so immersed in a particular task or project that you lose all track and sense of time. When do you find yourself in a flow state? Flow states often happen when we use our strengths. Identify the times you enter flow state and then look to see what strengths you were using during those times. And what is it that you were doing? Were you painting? Were you organizing? Were you working on spreadsheets? Were you doing something musically? Were you sitting with a friend and listening? What is it that you were doing when you were doing it? And find out and look and see what strengths that you found in that. Step number 6, identify your role models. Answer some questions. Who are your greatest role models in life? Who do you admire the most? And why do you admire them? Who do you aspire to be the most like? If you could model your life after 3 people, who would you choose? What is it about these people that inspire you so much? We often admire those people who have similar strengths to us. For example, if you're artistic, there's a good chance that you admire great artists, or maybe you admire your boss because of her great leadership skills. Or perhaps you respect your personal trainer because of the great personal discipline that they demonstrate. If a strength in someone else resonates deeply within you, it's an indicator that you also possess that strength. So let me give you my 3 people. Tony Robbins, Lisa Nichols, and Brene Brown. They're the 3 people in my life who I think have had the most impact in my life and in my career. Obviously, we all know Tony Robbins. I've had the opportunity to meet Tony Robbins. I've had the opportunity to have breakfast with Tony Robbins and attend a lot of his things. I have also had an opportunity to be with Lisa Nichols, somebody who has inspired me for a very long time in my life. We finally sat down. I was on her show, Breakthrough, and we're actually writing a book together. She's an amazing person. We have very similar stories. And then Brene Brown, love her, love her, love her. The way that her approach to vulnerability and being there for people and really getting people to understand who they are and what it is they want from life is something that really resonates with me. And there's something that I'm a Tony Robbins certified life coach, and there's something that Tony has said quite often, and is that success leaves clues. So when you're looking at your role model and you're looking at people that you want to model your life most like, there's going to be little crumbs of things that got them to be that successful. And I snatch up those crumbs as much as I possibly can. So if you're trying to build a coaching practice, a consulting practice, if you're trying to build a business, a digital presence, whatever it is that you're trying to do, look at the people that are your role models, or the ones that you are trying to most model after, and find out what they're doing. Show up where they're showing up. Do the research, do the market research about that. There are a lot of great tools online to find out. But if you happen to have an alignment with a person, there's something about what they do that probably is a strength that you have in yourself. Make a list of people that you admire. And then what I want you to do is spend a little bit of time and say, okay, what is it about these people that I admire the most? Now, you're going to have people in your life that you admire because they have meant a lot to you. I mean, my mom is one of my role models. Wonder Woman is a role model, although she's not a real character. But, write out the list of people that you admire the most. And why do you admire them? There's going to be some because of what they taught you and what you've learned, which will be family, the other people that you admire because they support and encourage you. But if you are an entrepreneur and you're somebody who's building a business, there are going to be people that resonate with you because they're already doing what you're doing, or they have been very successful at doing the same thing that you're trying to do. So make that list and spend time. What is it about them that you like and admire the most? And look for the crumbs. Step number 7, highlight your successes. Maybe you're great at creating and leading team building activities, or maybe your boss constantly relies on you to create a certain type of report because he knows that you're really good at it and you're going to do a really good job. Or maybe you always get tasked with mapping out projects because you can easily think far ahead. Consistent success at a particular activity is often an indicator of strength. What strength allows you to constantly succeed in a particular area? If you find yourself regularly excelling in a particular area, examine that area closely to determine why you're having so much success. Step number 8, evaluate your upbringing. Think back to your youth. What sorts of activities were you naturally drawn to? You were probably naturally drawn to these activities because you were really good at them. Think back on your schooling. Did any subjects just come naturally to you? Why do you think that you were able to handle these subjects so easily? Maybe you can think in a highly logical fashion, which made math seem simple. You were able to quickly grasp the big picture, which made history a breeze. You could easily articulate different concepts, which allowed you to crank through those essays. Well, I can tell you what I gravitated to was foreign language. I spoke 4 languages when I came out of school. I don't remember much of them except English, but I was really good at that. I was involved in theater. I was involved in music. I was involved a lot with our exchange students. I was just a social butterfly. I was one of 4 of the most popular people in school voted in my senior year. So things like that made me look back and say, okay, listen, we know you like to socialize. But it also kind of made me, as I look back too, I was a natural leader. That was something that just evolved. People would always come to me. And even in my life now, my husband and I kid about it. No matter where I am, somebody will walk up to me and ask for directions, ask for where something is located someplace, will come up and just say something. I could be in the middle of a crowd of people, and I feel like there's like this light that shines down on top of me, like a Christmas tree. Like, if you remember that in Christmas Vacation, just shines down on you. And I just feel like I just give off this approachable air around me, and one that people, I think, feel safe with and know that if they come to me, I'm going to help them figure out the answer. So looking back now, I mean, I'll be 53 this year. It's kind of hard to remember all the way back in school, but I can tell you social are the things that stood out for me. So obviously I'm in a very social career now, but look back on those things in life. They're going to be indicators that have continuously went, uh, have moved forward in your life. I have a t-shirt that says, what is it? I'm not bossy. I'm just aggressively helpful. I love that shirt. But then, so again, think back to the things in your upbringing. Those areas probably have continued to carry through in your life. The things that you naturally excelled at during your youth are indicators of your inherent strengths. Step number 9, identify what interests you, because our interests often align with our strengths. So what subjects are you constantly interested in? Are you always studying leadership or entrepreneurship or social media or relationships or health or creativity? What do you consistently talk about? I consistently talk about empowerment, my gosh, confidence, being there for people, believing themselves, crushing through limiting beliefs, your millionaire mindset, living in abundance. Those are topics that I talk about all the time. Well, I went and got all of my certifications in those areas because I wanted to know that if I had the most interest in that and I could bring it to the table for other people, I wanted to be the most qualified in bringing that. So that's what I consistently talk about. What do you consistently talk about? Step number 10, discover what you don't like. We've been talking a lot about what you do like. How about we talk about things that you just don't like doing? By identifying your weaknesses, you can more clearly identify your strengths. Weaknesses and strengths are often 2 sides of the same coin. Ask yourself these questions. What sorts of tasks do I highly dislike? What would you delegate if you could? When do you find yourself procrastinating? What tasks give you the most trouble? Where do you find yourself the most frustrated? These questions should help you determine the tasks that you hate the most, which then help you identify your weaknesses. I am really not great at delegating. I have worked so long being an entrepreneur and a business owner that it's very hard for me to delegate to other people. But I can tell you, as soon as I started delegating the things that I just do not really feel strongly about doing, whew, my life felt so much better and it allowed me to focus on my strengths. Step number 11, list your proudest accomplishments. The things that fill us with the most pride are often closely tied to our strengths. Make a list of 10 things you have accomplished throughout the course of your life that you are really proud of. Maybe you taught yourself how to do something like Photoshop, or, oh my goodness, what's the other one? I can't even remember. Creative design or something like that. I don't know. There's one of them. Needless to say, I didn't, teach myself how to do that. Maybe you wrote a book. I have happened to be part of 3 best-selling books. That was an incredible job for me that I love doing and supporting and collaborating on. Maybe you help someone achieve a much healthier body. You help somebody achieve a great website. Maybe you've significantly grown your social media following. I'm getting to the point now where I'm growing my Instagram and I'm growing my TikTok, and it took a while and I wasn't paying attention to it, but now I'm doing a really good job. And because I'm doing that and I'm spending time in that, people are finding me and I'm able to help more people because I'm becoming more visible. Maybe you climbed a mountain or ran a marathon. What do these accomplishments say about you? The common themes in your achievements represent what your key strengths are. Step number 12, analyze your values. We tend to care most deeply about the things that we're strongest in. Your values are often a mirror of your strength. So ask yourself, what things are the most important to me? What values define who I am? If you could change one thing in your community, what would it be? Once you've identified your core values, see if they match up with corresponding strengths in your life. How to grow your strengths. Spend some time investing in yourself. Spend some time finding trainings that you can take or people that you can mentor under, or books you can read, podcasts you can listen to. Spend some time honing in on your skills. Consider taking some training that will push you to be the best version of yourself. If you happen to work in an office, ask your supervisor if they can provide you with some training about some skill that you feel really strongly in. Ask for constructive criticism. That's hard, but you'll often find that in constructive criticism, it's going to reveal ways that you can develop your strengths. Ask to be included on projects where you can use your strengths. The more you can be involved in projects that use your strengths, the more that you're going to grow. Spend time with those who share your strengths. As you see them apply their strengths, you'll be inspired to push yourself to new heights. This is the whole thing. Success leaves clues. When you go out and you find something like Tony Robbins, every time he has something out, boom, I'm either listening to it, reading it, or attending it, because I want to see what he's learning. I want to see what he's sharing. I want to see what new techniques he's learned, or that different ways that I can better assist my clients, right? My coaching clients. So try to show up where you are following the people who you matter the most to you and are role models to you. Teach someone else. Consider working with an intern or a mentee. Put your strengths to work. When you're focusing on your strengths, you'll be more confident, more successful, less stressed, and more productive. You have more strengths than you even know. And the more that you operate out of your strengths, the more satisfied you are going to be with both your work and your life. And you're going to have a unique set of skills and great things to bring to the world. So I know I went a little bit longer than I normally do, but the reason that I did is because there are so many people that I've talked to who really are trying to hone in on their genius zone. I meet women in this group in life face to face every day who feel stuck. Some of them are working jobs that are not focusing on their strengths. They're more stuck in their weaknesses. They're not in their flow state. They're just not happy. And if you are a brand new entrepreneur, or if you're looking to make a shift from corporate life into being your own business owner, I think you need to start here with unlocking your genius zone, understanding what it means, focusing on your strengths, following the people who are doing what you want to do, and understanding the value that you bring. So underneath in the comments, there's going to be a way for you to get this ebook around how to unlock your genius. And I want to make sure that you spend time looking at it. I'm going to be sharing some things in the group over the next few days, talking about how to really hone in on an entrepreneurial mindset, how to do things like very successful entrepreneurs. If you are somebody who works in the digital space, please let me know, because I do have something available for people who are who are working as an entrepreneur in the digital space. But more than anything, I just want you that if you are feeling stuck and not encouraged, step back, spend some time figuring out if you're really doing what you feel called to do. And if not, there may be time in your life, and this may be a great time to make a pivot. So thanks for joining me for this empowerment exchange. Again, get the free guide that's going to be down below for how to unlock your genius. And please let me know how I can step in and support you. I have been from single mom to seven-figure business owner. So anything along the way, that's what I'm there for. That's why I created the Empowerment Blueprint, is for those people who are really interested to taking their life and their business to the next level. So please make sure you reach out to me. Let me know how I can best assist you. And I will be back again next week with another Empowerment Exchange. Have a wonderful week.